Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, good.
Hey, Tara.
Good morning, John.
It's the Jon and Tara morning podcast. Clink. My stainless steel mug and her ceramic.
Little Hill Berry Farm mug.
Clay mug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a nice, was it English breakfast? No, this would be Irish breakfast tea. Earl Grey.
Want to know what's in my coffee?
Yes, John.
So I started with a base of 2 tablespoons of layered coconut creamer.
Layered?
Layered.
Yeah,
he's a big surfer. Came out with his own line of performance stuff, and really good because there's mushrooms in it, right? So there's lion's mane and then other mushrooms, right? Mm-hmm. And then I put layered hot cocoa in there with real cacao, 100% cacao, and more coconut. He likes the coconuts. And then I put in the Stamets Microbrew, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the coffee cocoa.
I put that in my protein shakes too.
Nice. So you get a little coffee in there then. Yeah. So that's got lion's mane and coffee and cocoa. And then I put a big, about 2 tablespoons of raw butter. Mm-hmm. And then
I tasted that.
Yep. But then I put in some half and half. And then I put in some raw A2 milk, Jersey cow milk. Mm-hmm. And I blended that before I put the hot coffee in. Mm. So I whipped it, right? Mm. So you got to whip the cream a little bit, whip it good. Mm-hmm. And then I put in the coffee. Now, it didn't end up as hot as I wanted because all that stuff was room temperature or cooler. Yeah. And so this would have made a really great ice mocha. If I put some ices in there, some ice cubes in there.
Ices, baby. Ices.
Well, it's ice, baby now. Yeah.
It is.
Because of ice. ISIS is the bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so the Jon and Tara podcast, sitting here just chatting about AI and how we're using it.
So you've been building our site.
So this would be the AI division.
Yeah.
What site are we building?
Well, you're building our Jon and Tara podcast.
Oh, it's
site,
built. It's up. JTpodcast.com.
Awesome. Visit JTpodcast.com.
Yeah. You can. We have the community sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a weekly newsletter, and in the weekly newsletter now, I just styled a new newsletter, so you get a couple of quotes from me and you, and and then you get the episode that those quotes come from.
Oh, cool.
Right in your email inbox. That one's free. We do have a paywall, so we haven't figured that out yet. I think it's going to be like $6 a month.
And I think that, we always gravitate towards audio, and I think we just have to keep that up just for volume. But maybe the paywall is more of a webinar. You get to see us. And
video style. Yeah. You get to see us.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Woo!
And no, I think a lot of people listen to the videos, just listen to them anyway.
Yeah, I do on
YouTube. Yeah. I actually pay the $15 a month on YouTube just to be able to have the audio and have your screen not have to be on the video, and also no commercials.
Yeah, me too. I finally caved in, and it's been worth it.
So yeah,
definitely worth it.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because does that mean that they make $15 a month on videos? On advertising.
Well,
right?
they must have had to average it out, right? Mm-hmm. What is each customer worth to us in advertising? We need to at least make that to.
I'm sure it's much more than break even.
Yeah.
Which is a business term for you just made the money that you put out. Your output is the same as your income.
Yep, you're back to zero.
Break even.
Yep, back to go.
You at least have to break even. That's why you'll hear business people say that. You at least have to break even. Or I'm just breaking even on this.
Yeah. Which is not good.
Actual financial term, but
because you put out time and money
But there's loss leaders, which means you don't make money on it. You're just using it to get people interested, which is like every single one of our podcasts is a loss leader because we haven't made any money yet.
So the getting back to the site though, it looks awesome. I think what's really great is that it had early stuff that you created to reference.
Yeah.
Like the
future authoring. I have a vision.
Yeah. the graphics and stuff, I wouldn't have picked early on what you had chosen, like the orange and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
you wouldn't think, right?
But yeah, but when AI riffed off of it, I mean, it just looks awesome, and the complementary colors and stuff. So
Well,
I think it looks
before
really
AI, Tara, I was stylizing our titles too.
Oh no, you were the original stylizer here, out on the.
I go AI. That way back in the day, I was like, the New Yorkers are like AO, I'm like AI.
But apparently, like on the racetrack and stuff, you had the outfits.
Well, everybody. I mean, it was a uniform, right? So you have to wear pants that are durable and stretchy for motocross, right? You have to wear pants that are durable and stretchy in the right places because of your movements and how, like if you hold up a pair of motocross pants, you'll see the butt sticks out because you're always in a bent forward position, right?
Yeah, the knees are bent.
Yeah, the knees are bent, the butt sticks out, and it's the common form, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to wear boots, motocross boots. So, I mean, at that point, why not different colors? Your bike is a certain color. There's blue, red, orange, KTM, white, Husqvarna, yellow used to be Yamaha, now blue is Yamaha, now yellow is Suzuki, and you got Honda's red and Kawasaki's green, and so then you'd have either full colors or accents on your outfits, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, motocross guys and racers are probably some of the most stylish.
But you said you were the most stylish Taekwondo guy too.
Well, yeah, that's because Taekwondo is Korean, and I had the Korean text of my rank and my name embroidered on my black pants, embroidered in white. Mm-hmm. And so it really stood out. Yeah. So when I was in competitions, everybody was like, where'd you get those pants? And I'm like, I have them made. I have a seamstress in my town. There were several sewing shops in our town at that time, back then. Yeah.
Much more common.
So it would be.
So he's the original styling guy, which it translates very well. And, but that's the thing, too, is you did stylize our thumbnails and stuff like that, and then the AI could riff off of that.
Yeah.
Or vibe off of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've used AI extensively. You have to use it as a tool. Most people, it does. I look at it as it does enhance my skills, but I don't look at a tool that way. I think this new generation coming up will only think about it that way. But, like a carpenter doesn't say, this hammer enhances my skill of being able to put a nail in this wood. Yeah. It's just a tool. Yeah. And in the hands of the right person, you watch, if I hand you a hammer and I hand a carpenter a hammer, the carpenter is going to go
bam, bam.
He's going to tap it once and then hit it again, and the nail is in.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like 5, 6, 7 hits just to get it in and try to target the nail. And you might miss once or twice, If you walk around a house and you see where all the nails are put in and you see where the hammer marks are.
Yeah.
And if you've got a good carpenter, there's no missed marks hitting the wood.
Right.
They take pride in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only mark should be around the nail, and generally not.
And not at all.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, or even like finished carpentry, the trim and such, they will
Can't
stop
have any marks
short,
outside.
and they will have a little, I forget what
punch,
they're called.
yeah.
A punch, yeah, to
tap it in. Well, nowadays they use guns, so they'll be like,
yeah,
and the gun puts it below the surface as far as they want.
So like any tool, it just enhances the ability of the person who's using it. And like what you're illustrating, any person who you might have 2 people with the same tool, and they can do vastly different levels of skill work. But you take AI and it's so dynamic, meaning that there's so many things that AI itself can do that it just multiplies the capacity of the person. Is that same example, the hammer, but on thousands and maybe millions of times magnitude.
Yeah.
And so you really see it amplifies the creativity, the organization, the vision of a person. And what we found too, like just personally and within our teams, is that it also, the fallback, the downfall of that also is it becomes an echo chamber. Like how you tend to use your AI it tends to reflect who and how you are. If you stick too much to a certain mentality,
it'll enhance your narcissism.
it will enhance your blinders.
Yeah.
It will keep you, like, for example, I put into mine commands to say, for example, my chat, which is where I started with ChatGPT, is I want you to conclude every inquiry, every answer with a zoom out, and maybe consider this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it helps me to see beyond what I'm actually researching for. Just as one simple example, that's something that everybody could use, because I think ChatGPT, the app itself, is a very entry-level, user-friendly version.
Well, it is now. You're off of it now, basically. I mean, you probably still have your account.
I still have my account, and I still, like, I have it on my iPad right here, and if I just want to look up something kind of casually, it's a good casual research, but it's kind of funny. I'll tell you something funny. I was looking up some family ancestry stuff, and I had found, for example, my great-great-grandparents or great-great-great kind of level family actually sold most of what is the current cemetery for the local Catholic Church to the church. Now, I like fair market value kind of thing. And so I was like, oh, there's probably got to be a lot of relatives there.
Well, they probably did it as a donation too. Part of it.
Yeah.
They probably didn't get a lot of money for it, but
I looked it up. I used chat. Was that fair market value? Yes, it was fair market value or less. And in that era, apparently, it was during the Depression, and
so it's on the books how much they got paid for it?
It was actually in the church documents that I found.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually.
Well, how much? Do you know how much?
I do. I can look it up for you.
Oh, you don't know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, but in the church document about the history of the cemetery mentions a number of relatives who sold. I suppose
they all got free plots then.
Well, the thing is that land was their land anyways, and so they sold off just the portion, right? It ends up today it's like 6 acres worth, and the family, different portions of the family, ended up selling about 5 of the 6 acres. Nice. The other acre is the neighboring farm. And yeah, like the chat explained.
So do we get free plots on that land then? We got to go talk to that church.
You have to be Catholic.
I can pretend.
You better cut that one out.
Why? Who's gonna catch me? Who's
gonna listen?
Who's gonna catch me?
So it was. Even Chad explained. Historically, this is what would happen. Yes, historically that would have been fair market value or less. But at that time, during the Depression or World War II, it was well understood that you would pay for something, right? They're not just, and it's kind of like a fair business exchange. And I think probably part of the German culture is what it implied also, is that you
well,
just
they probably thought they were buying their way into heaven too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of indulgence work, maybe.
Well, here's what we could do. So we could go right next to the border. You could be buried in the cemetery, and I could be buried outside the cemetery, just right across the border.
No, actually, the land there is for sale. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool to buy back my ancestors' land?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right next to the cemetery. That's awesome.
Well,
Probably not.
It's pretty spendy, but it's a really good piece of property. Like, it would be a good piece of property.
Just so you know, given my work in other areas, we're not living right next to the cemetery.
No, we don't have to live next. You can still own it.
For what? We're putting up a play place.
Oh yeah, that would be
jump start. Bring all the kids.
Yeah, it could be a number of things. But anyways, it is a great piece of property.
So talking about AI.
What I was getting back around to, hang on. My point was...
Bringing you back on track.
John, I got to get my 20% talking time in.
Where are you going?
So in chat, I was like, what about this? What about that? And because I was using findagrave.com or something like that. Really,
Where do I put this deadperson.com?
And, because it's a part of genealogy research. And I was like, well, who is Anton? Where are they in relation to me?
Anton?
And Anton I won't say the last name. I
You
don't
have
want people
some
like maybe a distant great
some
uncle or
Italian,
something.
some Italians in
It
the
does sound
family.
no, but there are a lot of Franks and Josephs. But apparently, the German culture would alternate names. So, like the dad would be Frank Joseph, the son would be Joseph Frank, and then the next son would be Frank Joseph, and then
Wow.
yeah, and then. But so it makes genealogy a little tricky because it's like, wait, was your dad Frank Joseph or Joseph Frank?
German's
Okay.
very good with mechanics, but not very creative.
No, that's logic. It's very logical, right?
Yeah.
Then, because I asked Chad, I'm like, well, what happens if they have more than one son? Well, then they usually take an uncle's name or a brother's name, and
Maybe they took the uncle's name because it was the uncle's son.
Maybe. So you get a lot of repeats of names.
It's a
but this is what I was going
strategy.
to tell you. Oh, so interesting. I'm still not to the point. Remind me of my point about ChatGPT.
Okay.
All right.
So after Tara tells this
I've
story,
only
you
had-
guys bookmark this part and tell us if this is interesting.
So, no. Okay, now we're going to talk about your heritage. All right.
Are you AI-ing me?
I AI'd you.
Are you AI-ing me?
So apparently, like the Norwegians, hello,
Hello.
they did something very
AKA
different.
Vikings.
Yes.
Bjorn's son.
Yes, but what would happen is if you had a sister, she would
John's
be
son.
Bjorn's daughter.
Yeah.
And so you'd have different last names.
It's perfect.
And then when she got
That
married,
way we can intermarry.
or it was that way, or like your ancestors actually took on the name of the farm.
Nothing like keeping it in the family.
And it said that that's very common in those Scandinavian cultures.
Well, that was your IP address. That's where you were located.
But it makes it very difficult for genealogy because you're like, wait, I'm a Bachland. No, I'm a
But we
Larson.
didn't want people to know. I mean, we were like,
That could be.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow,
The
that's
best warriors stay hidden.
really interesting. Yeah, because you could end up marrying your cousin and not knowing because they're, took on their
Might
family
not know
took
until your third child.
might not know, right. So very creative, very neato, very different from the German culture, which is like, no, you're Frank. The next one's going to be Hans.
Yeah. Hans Frank.
Right. And so you get all those repeats. Well, and that's how, it's France.
Hans and Franz. We're here to pump you up.
So getting back to my original point about ChatGPT, I learned all that with Chat, by the way.
Yeah.
And it checks out with your ancestry because we know that yours, even though we have the last name Bachland, the ones that came here were Larsons, but they essentially were like indentured servants on the Bachland farm, and given their culture,
That's right. We fucking took over. Vikings took over the farm. We owned it.
that was kind of the other way around.
Guess where the owners are buried?
Oh, maybe.
We took their name. Yeah, you get it now,
I
right?
get it now. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Conquering.
So I was trying to ask Chat. I'm like, so is Franz my great grandpa, or it looks like he was born in Boston, but he's
Boston.
he's close in age with Joseph. Are they cousins or brothers?
Boy, geez, the mystery, Tara.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it said likely brothers, but he was the youngest brother who was born here.
Tara's
and
out there
like
sleuthing.
and like most German families, in that era, they stopped in Boston, gathered their supplies, right? Kind of like the Oregon Trail, and then headed to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And but if I asked certain questions, it would circle back around based on the information I gave it. And that's what's different.
Those young German women were after those hot Norwegian men in Minnesota.
No, not initially.
Get it? You're German. I'm Norwegian.
I am.
You're
I
a hot
was.
German woman.
Woo! All right.
I'm a spicy Norwegian.
Land grabbing Norwegian.
One of the few spice eating Norwegians.
So my whole point was to say you have to be careful. Chat is good for surface level kind of
Oh, geez, you're gonna get in trouble. if you say that.
information. Well, the interface, right? The interface part of it.
Well, yeah, you can use Codex, and Codex is really
I'm just saying, like the app part.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're using it with your own. You've made your own.
You trying to bring
AI.
out the coders, Tara? Let's not bring
I'm
out the
just-
coders.
Just saying, you have to be careful in general what you feed it, and if you're using like the desktop app versions, You do have to be careful what you feed it.
Well, you don't want to be using it like a glorified search, Hold
Why
on.
not? Okay, so why? So my point was that it's you have to be careful about creating the echo chamber, right? And that was just a simple case in point that I was kept asking questions about genealogy, and it just kept repeating the stuff that I had fed it.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. So I've built 3 independent autonomous bots, right? AI bots. And so the funny thing is I thought I set them all up the same, but all 3 of them have different personalities. They if I ask all 3 the same question, I get back similar answers but structured completely differently. And what I've been doing is I've been working through which ones do what things best and the way that I like that individual to do it.
Yeah.
And so I have different databases and sites that I've built and information dashboards and all these different things that I built, and each one of them is good at different things. It's hilarious.
That's crazy. Is that why you chose Philo for me?
Yeah.
You thought that we'd be a good match?
Well, yes, and I've done it on 3 Mac Minis, and the hilarious thing is I have 2 M4 Mac Minis with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and they're 512 gigabytes of storage, and then I just plug in an extra drive on them, like a 2 terabyte drive or something on them, so they can put stuff on there if they need it. Terabytes, yeah, I do. And then I have 1 Mac Mini M1 with 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 512 drive. That's Philo. The oldest one, the least amount of RAM, just as fast, if not faster. And so the funny thing is, and we'll get into some stuff that is more along the lines of what we're talking about, but it seems to me that the architecture of that M1 was different than the M4. Like if I'm driving the X1 versus driving the Yoda, right? The Yoda's got a 350 in it, and the X1 has a 2.0 with a turbo, so they call it a 2.8, right? The turbo adds that much more horsepower, right? I drive them different. There's strategies for the different motors. There's the way that you operate them. The Yoda, you don't rev it out because it's very torquey, low end and mid range. And so you keep it in that heavy torque range, right? And the X1, you ring it out, but I like to shift it at around 5,000 RPM. So when we're driving and I have to drive hard or I have to accelerate hard or I have to go fast into traffic or something, you see me put it in sport and shift it into manual shifting. And I shift it, it's got a torque range too, and that's in between about probably 5,500 and 4,500. So I shift it at $5,000 and it stays in that torque range. You can feel when I shift, you can feel the acceleration come out of it. And so
the ultimate driving machine.
Well, there's that, but that's an 8-speed also.
Yeah.
So you can really keep it in that. It's a narrow range of gears, but you can keep it in that range. Yeah. And the Yoda, I just do it with my foot.
Yeah.
If I'm accelerating hard and I let off a little and it shifts and then I accelerate again, then I'm in that torque range. And so it's interesting to see these computers, and I wish that I knew, or I could probably ask or look, but how they built the M1, because it had less powerful processor, so they leveraged something in that computer that they don't have to leverage in the M4.
Like it has a turbo.
Yeah,
like
because
it's the X1.
Yeah, like it has a turbo, and it will keep up with a much bigger engine if you can keep it in its good power, its power band, right?
Yeah, and maybe even more nimble and.
Right. Yeah, it can bob and weave faster through traffic, or around something. Or
while we're on the subject of BMWs, you said something surprising the other day. You said that you might even get clean up this X1, even if
I had a couple $1 million.
Yeah. That you've
I'd
always
buy another car, but
rather than the X5, you've had a couple X5s,
Yeah.
but like you said, with your mileage and stuff, you just burn right through them. But
Yeah.
but the sportiness and the performance of the X1, you said, has been just amazing.
I really like it. I mean,
Even though it's small and
it
you're a
is
big
small.
guy, you're like, it's
big guy, small car.
but the newer ones are a little bit more like the X3s. They look a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So maybe that is your kind of sweet
Well,
spot.
the other thing is too, the X1. It's a 2017 X1, BMW X1, just for people to see X-Drive, and it's like that M1 Mac Mini. It's like, you know, I that M1 was sitting on the shelf. It was it's been sitting there for like 3 years, just doing nothing underneath one of my Apple drives, and I've got a old Wi-Fi. No, it's the first Apple TV, that big. It's got a drive on it with tons of movies. You know that technically you can't download Apple movies anymore.
Yeah.
But that's one of my old ones, and I probably got 500 movies on it.
Wow.
Yeah. So interesting.
Valuable drive.
Yeah, it's a valuable drive. I could just plug it in and start watching movies. But yeah, that it was just sitting in my office, and I wasn't using it because it's old. It was slow for what I was using it for, and now put the AI, autonomous bot on it and OpenClaw, and it's a spectacular. I mean, it's building at least a third of the stuff I'm building, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away. It's like finding an antique bike with a whole different gear system that they don't have on bicycles nowadays, and you're like, oh my God, I can go almost 30 miles an hour on this thing and with no effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, so where did we diverge from?
Well, let's get back into AI. I mean, we're kind of talking about it, but
yeah. Back to you're like, don't wrangle, get up the ire of the developers or the chat versus whatever.
I listen to a lot of developers, and there's a lot of people, and it's hard to figure out what they are. But I listen to a lot of them, and their explanations about why and how to use this AI and what they're doing with it is so interesting to me. It's like, how people, well, I'll wait for a second on that, but it's like when they wax rhapsodic about everything, I can't stop listening to it. When they're all technical, I get really bored. But when they are getting into the philosophy and the theology and the mysticism and the methodology of AI, I can't stop listening.
That's so funny. Okay, I have to make this correlation.
Yeah.
I like the technical stuff. That's totally the Joseph Franz. And you're like, it's Bjorn's daughter and Bjorn's son.
No, it's the, so with all of my background,
yeah,
right?
I know. I'm joking.
I know you're joking.
But there might be some correlation there.
The technical side has to be there, right?
You need both. It's a marriage.
Well, it has to be created, right? The technical side creates things, and what you're going to see is the creative side technically uses everything better. Mm-hmm. It's like a German car maker, right? This is the model how we will use it because it is the most efficient.
You said it about machinery. Like, they make the best machinery, them and the Japanese.
Yeah.
But the Germans don't know how to market theirs very well.
Yep. I have German and Japanese machines, and however, the Japanese market for shit too in the machinery realm, right? Yeah. And in the car realm, kind of. I mean, they're okay, but they don't market like the Americans, You don't
they just
see.
Say the factual, the ultimate driving machine. It's just like fact.
Yeah, but then you have to have the driver, and a lot of drivers can't work on stuff. A lot of racers can't wrench on their own, bike, motorcycle, snowmobile, car, that kind of thing, and you need the person that can see the lines, not just describe
Yeah.
You know, the best way to take a corner is to apex it. Well, what if it's an off-camber corner? You know, is it the best? You know, because then you're kind of jumping. You know, you go to the outside, come to the inside, and are you going to launch? You know, and so you got to be able to see the lines and appreciate the lines, and then you got to be able to feel the track.
Yeah.
You know, because there might be a fastest line, but the person felt that their tires didn't grip properly in that perfect line.
Was it like the classic Spock and Captain Kirk?
Yeah,
Like you
got to have both.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I really, I think as a tool, if you think about AI, if you think about it as a tool, and you use it properly for what you're building, you know, not just as an enhancement to your intelligence, right? It needs to be utilized properly. That's why I'm going in the direction that I'm going in.
But how do you know, what's the distinction between using it to enhance your ability and using it properly? You're enhancing your intelligence versus really fully utilizing it.
If you use something to enhance your intelligence too much, it's kind of like longhand math and calculator math, right? The difference between those two people is the calculator person eventually won't be able to figure out the math problem without the calculator. And the person doing longhand all the time will always be able to use the calculator and do the longhand, you know? And so I think there's some things we have to think about, because I'm older than you, but you're older than the 14-year-old that's trying to use AI to get their book report done.
Yeah.
And not read the book. Right? That's a problem.
Yeah.
In China, they turn off AI during finals week. And so they have finals week in college and finals week in the schools all at the same time, right? And they have central control over the computers. So they just turn off AI so the kids can't use it. So that enhances the kids' intellect. That enhances their intelligence, right? Because they know all year, I can't use this to make me seem smarter. That's the problem. And so when you turn over your abilities to AI, you get dumber automatically. Now, you might see the stuff that it's doing and go, oh, but I read that and I read this. I think we just have to be very careful. You know, and social media in China gets turned off. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think we should be a communist country. But I do think, just like cigarettes, just like alcohol, there should be a limit. Social media gets turned off at 10 p.m. every night.
Not communism, but dictatorship? Is that what you're...
No, I don't. But I think we should care enough. It's like, so if I was to go to one of these town halls and do a talk, I would do a talk at the end of the town hall meeting, right? After everybody's done yelling at the people that have been elected, right? And I would chide the elected officials not as much as I would the populace, because the populace waited until they got taxed on their lake lot so much that they couldn't stand it anymore. They didn't pay attention to the buildup of what was going on, and the people now that are embedded and entrenched and are paid by foreign actors and are paid by groups in our country that get their money from outside of our country to destroy our country internally, that we can only be destroyed from within. And you can see it. You can see it when the people rise up and go, hey, wait, this is wrong. And we have founding documents. We have a guiding source of intellect here. AI, the Constitution is AI. Yeah. Because 90% of the people don't even know what it says, but they'll reference it. So, just like most people don't have the capability to do much without AI, they're regular. They're not incredible, right? They could be incredible, but they've gone along. They went through the education system, through college, and then into a job, and all along they've been doing what they've been told, and they get upset when their benefits disappear.
So just let's relate it, since this is a relationship podcast also, let's relate it really quick to relationships. That, a lot of times... By
the way, I told me to stay married to you, so...
Okay, good. I programmed it correctly then. what you're talking about, people being upset at the elected officials and they should have been paying attention earlier. I can credit you very much for this in our relationship, and I think it is because you're older and your experience, but also your diligence. You're very aware, and you didn't wait until things were just absolutely catastrophic in our relationship. You've been all along the way, like nipping at the little things, which I think it can be difficult as someone in a partnership with a person like that, because it's like, oh, it's another thing. But the thing is, you're weeding the garden along the way rather than waiting until they're so big that you pull up the plants along with it.
Accidentally, yeah.
And so that, I think, is very directly correlated to marriage, is that you have to be diligent, or any relationship, a working relationship.
Well, there's phrases, I've listened to all the colloquialisms growing up, right? Because I was around great grandparents when I was a kid. I had grandparents that were moving into the hundreds, and I had a grandma that spoke perfect Norwegian, a great grandma that spoke perfect Norwegian, obviously, and I would hear phrases, like in the guy realm, there's like, drive it till the wheels fall off. Well, there's nothing after that statement. Why? Because your car is now on the side of the road and it's unfixable. Mm-hmm. So if you run something until the wheels come off, that means you're running it into the ground. Mm-hmm. And that's what most people do in relationships, right? They push and push and push until the partner breaks and says, I want a divorce, and that's the wheels have come off, right? Mm-hmm. And once you're at that point, it's seriously difficult to fix, and so, and if you don't, if you could push somebody far enough and they don't ever say that, you're running not only that person into the ground, you're running yourself into the ground, because you will ruin your whole, if you're ruining a person in your relationship, you're ruining your whole life and you don't know it. Because it becomes so normalized, if the way that you're treating somebody bad, that you will do that in your life in other places. You won't see it. It's like, I was listening to Jordan Peterson this morning, and he said, if you lie, you automate your deception. You automate your own destruction. Because if you lie and you reinforce the lies become your reality. And yeah. So lying and lies that are kept cause like fragments in your system, in your operating system, like in a computer. How we used to have to defrag computers, now they do it themselves automatically if you leave them on overnight. A hint to people with laptops. Yeah.
Super amazing. It's kind of like sleep.
But
when you get good sleep, your body.
Listening to somebody like Jordan Peterson is like having AI operate on your operating system on your computer.
Mm-hmm. Or read a book.
Read a book, listen to a talk multiple times. Mm-hmm. And it's like reading the Bible. There's a defragmentation that comes from foundational works, like the Constitution. If you just read the Constitution, it is why don't you see what she's into? Okay, we got two kitties running around. And one is young, so she gets into stuff. Like when there's a bag handle, they just stick their head through the handle and
then go tearing through the house because they're like,
God.
what the heck is going on?
And they don't know what it is.
What's choking me as I run?
But there's a foundational works are a defragmentation. That's why they don't want people to be able to read original documents. That's why the cursive isn't being taught. Who's going to be able to read the Constitution, the original Constitution, in 10 years? Right. Only people like us that wrote cursive. Yeah. And 3rd grade. Yeah, you're going to start learning cursive now. Now you learn the alphabet. Now you're learning cursive. And why? Why would you get rid of that? Why get rid of a finer motor skill, a deeper thought process, and a creative way of doing something? Yeah. People got to think about that stuff as it's happening, right? Parents should be more mad about that than their taxes, because getting rid of that. If you're a 42-year-old parent and you're upset about your taxes and you're not upset that your kid's not learning cursive and you're not teaching your kid cursive, means that you're going to have a retard taking care of you when you're 92.
And maybe if the logical history kind of stuff doesn't appeal to you, maybe it'll appeal to you that they won't be able to read their grandparents' love letters to each other, or something historical in the family.
Yeah, any handwritten documents, classical works, anything like that.
So that is kind of a segue back to using AI to the max, like really fully, or just using it to augment yourself. I'm gonna open up and let you use me as an example, because I've been getting deeper and deeper into AI. What level would you say that I am at, so that there's more of a practical example to illustrate what would be the difference?
You're at the level where you can damage other people.
Say more.
Did I affect you? Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, so there's, teaching martial arts, teaching remote viewing, teaching NLP, teaching all these things, there's a classic thing that happened, and you were there. We're sitting at this new age fair and we're talking about stuff with people, and I'm advertising, remote viewing and Inomonte, and then I talk, and I'm talking to these two ladies and we're talking about NLP, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the ladies, after we're done talking, goes, "Oh wow," she's like, "NLP with a heart." Mm-hmm. NLP with heart. Mm-hmm. And she was shocked. Mm-hmm. And because most people know NLP as a methodology of manipulation, a marketing tactic, right? A way of saying things to deceive somebody's mind.
Yeah.
And it is. In the military, when the military got a hold of it, they called it mind fucking. And just like anything, like if you have a very sharp chef's knife and you can cut the thinnest, piece of whatever you're cutting, and you can make little folds and little cuts and little decorations because your knife is perfect. Yeah. That knife will kill a person much easier. Yeah. And can cut.
Or cut off your finger.
Cut flesh. And it can be used as a dastardly weapon, right, is what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can hurt yourself with it. And we actually saw that in our NLP training, and they warned us about it. They said, don't just get rid of the behavior without the person understanding why they had the behavior in the first place. Every bad strategy was a good strategy at some point.
Had a purpose.
Positive
purpose.
So we would literally say, if somebody had a bad habit, or we would literally sit down, they would have us meditate. I went to a very spiritually oriented NLP class because I was trained under Charles Faulkner, Tom Best, Tim Halblum, Susie Smith, and then the married couple, I hope I'll remember their names. Anyway, the best of the best, not Bandler and Grinder. Those guys weren't necessarily the best. They were pretty manipulative. But the methodology, Tom Best spent tons of time with the kahunas in Hawaii and got spiritual practice from them. And so it was a very, very understanding that human beings have souls. And you can't, if you damage the human, you damage the soul. If the person accepts fully what you say, they internalize it, and that becomes their method of being, which is all inclusive. Yeah. Right? Your body, your mind, and your spirit. And so, this
Stephen Connie Ray Andreas?
Yes, Ray Andreas, yep.
That was with Chat, by
Stephen
the way.
Connie Ray Andreas.
Thanks, Chat.
Yes, so those were my teachers.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Same people that taught Anthony Robbins. Mm-hmm. And I could go down the list of people that have gone there. they were my teachers, and some of them were my friends. Some of them, were just teachers there, and I won't name. Well, I'll say Tom Best was one of my friends, and we communicated after I left, and sadly he passed now. But just wow, and I went in there as a remote viewer and taught a remote viewing class at NLP Comprehensive, and crazy,
Yeah.
And so I was there for 30 days, and we had maybe 3 classes a week while I was there, because the people that were there were, not all of them, but very open-minded, very like, oh yeah, I want to learn that too, and how would that integrate with this? And I'm like, oh, it integrates perfectly, because remote viewing is all language. It's all thought process and language, and using your soul. And I 100% know that, not even belief. I have knowings, not beliefs. And so the difference of how you implement something in your life and let it use you versus you understanding how to utilize it, not use it, right? Usury is bad. So we want to utilize things that can give us skills, like reading a book. A lot of people will read 5 love languages, and then they'll use that to, instead of figuring out what their partner is or what their next girlfriend or boyfriend is.
Mine is the acts of service. You must serve me.
Well, no, they'll figure out that yours is acts of service, so they use you. They'll use acts of service to make you fall for them, but they're really not serving you, they're serving themselves.
Well, that's a whole other level.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Usury, right? That's why
Yeah.
usury is illegal in the Bible. Usury is bad, right? That's why
the money changers.
That's why, Jesus threw
situation.
money guys out of the temple.
Yeah.
And that's why he said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and unto God what is God's. And you as a human being are God's. You are God's property. You were created by God. You are part of God.
Possessive God.
You're a piece of God.
Yeah.
Yes. And Caesar's, the money is the government's. They manipulated us by putting on it, in God we trust. It's the money people are manipulators. Period. There's just no better way to say it. And so utilizing AI, don't use it, utilize it. Figure out where it can enhance you, but also you're at the point where you will outstrip your capability. You'll run too fast. And you said it a few weeks ago. You were like, I can do things at the speed I want to do them, and I can do so many things. And instead of utilizing it to free up your time, you've utilized it to fill your time.
Well, that's what I commented too, is that I'm on a plan right now with Claude that I cap out my usage. So I get a couple hours worth of use, and then it's like, you have to take a 3-hour break. And I'm like, dang it, I was on a roll. And I do have paid tokens, so I can continue if I really have to. But oftentimes it's actually a good reminder of like, okay, go for your walk, take a shower, have some lunch.
You don't want to spend $10,000 a month on AI.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Just because you can keep going.
Right. And so that's very interesting. Yeah. It's been an interesting experience.
And I'm not saying it to be harsh on you. I think you're
I'm
you're
asking
okay.
for it, and I think it's a good example. That's why I asked you to use me as an example.
Yeah. I mean, you saw me become an AI vampire while I was building my bots, because I wanted to get them up and running. I wanted to get through the hiccups and the headaches, and I was into OpenClaw right away. So I was in there very early, and shortly after it was created, and went through all the ups and downs and updates and headaches and failures and crashes, and with the makers of it, and who were constantly trying to update and keep things going forward as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And I remember I took a week off. You were like, "Oh, you're coming to bed early tonight," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not chasing this every night. I'm just gonna let it flush out this week. I got 3 models up and running that work, and I'm not updating because for a while you'd update and crash. You'd update and your communication would, all your gateways would be closed, or you'd update and you couldn't find it. Your OpenClaw couldn't find its folders anymore, and it's like, what in the you'd update and your memory was gone. You'd update and you lost your connection to the LLM. You'd update and and it's like they were fixing things, but they were fixing so fast that they weren't able to look ahead and see what it was going to cause. So it was very interesting in that respect.
Yeah. So you said something very particular, which is I'm at the point where I could be dangerous enough to harm other people.
You can hurt people, yeah.
And I think this is what you're saying. So
starting
for example,
with ego, first of all, you could hurt people's ego, and you can.
But what do you mean?
You could push them too far. Well, you can come through with, it's like a know-it-all, right? It's like a person that is like, because I don't know if you do this, but you could be in a team meeting and you could have your AI open, and you could literally be recording and have your AI responding to the meeting about what's going on in real time. You can have real time fact checking, real time, all this kind of stuff, right? And I know you don't do that, but you could just type. I do it in meetings. Somebody says something, I don't know something, I just put it in a search, whether it was Google back in the day or AI now, and I go, oh, that's what they're talking about, because I deal with a lot of financial guys, right? And I'm like, I don't know that acronym, and I don't want to stop their flow, and I don't want to be like, I don't mind that they don't know that I don't know what the term that. I don't mind that if they know that. I don't mind if they know that I don't know the term. But, constantly asking, what does that mean? What does FTW mean? What does LMG mean? What does, because they speak in acronyms all the time, because they're long names and they don't want to say it. They're long processes, right? A P&L, right? Well, most people know what that, profit and loss statement, So you got a P&L for 23, it's like, if somebody didn't know, you wouldn't understand what they're saying.
I think it also depends on also the person's attitude. So I haven't used it in that way. I'll do it for myself, like if I don't know what a term is, I actually do care if someone knows that I don't know who I want to know. But I have done it, for example, when working with a contractor and they want a shortcut. They're like, well, that's a really long code. How about I'm just gonna, is there a shorter code?
Yeah.
And I'll on the spot be like, is there a reason to shorten the code, or do you need all the code?
Right.
And so that I could see would be an ego crusher, but I, as the employer of the contractor, I have to know, is this a legitimate shortcut, or is this going to hurt us in the long run?
I use it in a meeting sense of if I say, can we do this with this software, and somebody says, I don't know, then I just type it in the search, can this software do this? And then it'll bring back, oh yeah, there's these 3 methodologies of doing that.
But I think where I was getting at is if the other person is curious and they really want to improve, they'll be like, awesome.
Right.
I wanted to know that.
It flushes that out very quickly.
Yeah.
When people come to your meetings and they know you're going to talk about something and they still have the I don't know mentality, that's a failure to me. And so what I do in meetings, I've been in meetings, I go, well, let's just ask AI.
Yeah.
And then they find out right away, oh, we can have that answer. So if it was me going into a meeting, I would have my top 5 questions that I know are going to be asked answered already. And then not only do I have the answers and I know more about my job or what I'm doing, my employer, my coworkers, my business partners, whatever, they go, John's really on it. He knows what's going on, And in that sense, I'm not trying to, be deceptive and just learn about things immediately and then think I know. I'm just having answers, because I'm still going to have to go do the work, because I'm a guy that's in the middle of all that, and I'm going to have to go use the software and build the system and build the database and build the website and do all that.
So I think that's an example of, AI will be a real differentiator. It's an enhancer, so
it's like a car. Somebody says I have to walk to work because I don't have a car. It's going to take them longer. If they have a car, they get there in 5 minutes. That's why I'm saying it's a tool. You know, people will be like, oh, it's the end of the world. It's the, you know, this is it. This is the beast, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, it's not. You know, the beast has been happening for millennia, and it manifests through humans. If it manifests through a computer system, it's no different than manifesting through humans.
So another analogy, we talk martial arts, right, from back in the day. And back in the day when I was more we were really training a lot. I did ask you at one point, and even though I'm not a big person, you have specifically trained me. And I'm like, you know, did you install some software that I should be aware of that I could accidentally hurt someone? And I had a few interesting incidences, not where I was like in a threatening environment, but I had people.
You were surprised.
I was surprised,
Yeah.
and the actions came out.
Yeah.
And this is where I mean that I think AI is going to be the differentiator. I think it's going to be the differentiator. Just my example about the attitude of the people that you're working with. It will be the differentiator whether you're a person that's like, this is the beast, or just like, I'm too tired to learn new things. Either way, your attitude. I have to connect this.
Go ahead.
Either way, it's gonna augment your attitude, and just like the martial arts example, here, help me connect this, because I asked,
martial arts is the software that connects your body to the outside situation.
Okay.
Right.
So I asked you, am I going to unknowingly harm someone? But what I didn't know, because what I wanted to know is, do I have the stop mechanism also? Do I only have the go mechanism?
Right.
And in those surprise situations, I found, I do have the situational awareness to also stop.
Yeah.
And that's
martial arts wise. Yeah.
Martial arts wise. And that was, you know, in your example about I'm at the level of the ability to do harm.
Yeah.
That's also, do I have the stop mechanism? Like, if I'm working with another person, are they just taking it personally, or am I actually causing harm? Are they just not at the receptivity level?
Yes, on both, right?
And I'm striving to be aware. This is not just me.
Awareness is the key, yes.
Because in that martial arts analogy, I found out, like, I could stop. I realize this person is not a threat.
Right.
In that surprise situation. In the AI situations with other people, or it's also not with other people with AI. You have to be aware that you don't do something, for example, for me in marketing, or even better, that I create a mini chat flow or something, and I send people to the wrong place or something, or
Yeah.
I have it edit my website and it goes bazonkers and does 100 pages the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's where the harm could happen, right? But there's also the people side, right?
The problem is, okay, so I'll analogize this for you. The situation where you were in an environment where you weren't threatened and somebody surprised you and you did something martial arty, but you stopped and you didn't hurt them, right? If that happened every day, you would stop being in that situation. So with AI, with your business, with the way you deal with people, you're dealing with people sometimes every day, sometimes a couple times a week, and you're dealing with the same people over and over again. Mm-hmm. And if the behaviors don't change, that's why you'll get irritated, and you will do something, right? Because you have to either stop the behavior, like if a person surprises you every day, scares you, whatever they do, you have to tell them you need to stop. Mm-hmm. You know, because not only might they get hurt, or you get fed up and you'll quit going there, but you're allowing them to instill fear in you. You're allowing them to instill a reaction in you where you don't know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen, right? And so in business, in running a business, you have to stop your people, you have to start your people, you have to put the stop gaps in place, or the what we call boundaries in place that people can't cross. And if they cross once, you go, oh yeah, I wish you wouldn't do that. If they cross twice, you go, hey, I remember I told you about that. And the third time they cross, it's like, okay, you aren't caring about this situation. You know, you don't care about me because you keep doing this. And that's where, you know, like in families, people wait until it's just the behavior of the family. It's just constant bad behavior because they didn't put up boundaries soon enough. They didn't know they could put up boundaries, or the other members made them feel guilty about putting up boundaries. That's where we were in a situation, you were in a situation, and then you brought me into it, where a person was pushing the boundaries and then eventually barking at you, and then was really shocked when you told them, I'm not going to work with you anymore. You know, and it's like, if you had let that go on more and more and more, they would be literally mad at you that you stopped the bad behavior, because they'd be like, subconsciously, well, you've accepted this the entire time you've known me. Mm-hmm. That's what families do to each other, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of thinking, I should treat this person better than I treat the gas station attendant, because they'll be fighting in the car with their spouse about something stupid. They'll go into the gas station and be completely polite and happy and wonderful, like nothing in their life is going on that's bothering them. And then they get back in the car and start screaming at their spouse again. Yeah. You know, it should be the other way around. You should let it out on a stranger and then go back to the person you live with and go, I'm so sorry. You know, I just took it out on, you know, Becky at the counter in there. So now I feel better.
Yeah. So I think this is it.
And with AI, what'll happen with AI is you'll divert yourself. You know, you'll be like, well, okay, that person's not performing, but I can do their task now, and I can do 10 times the tasks. And people will allow things to go too long because they have AI and they'll just do it themselves, right? Or they won't teach their team, their group, their friends, right, or their family properly. Like if your team shows up to a meeting and they don't have AI open, fire them. Because they need to be like, their notes that they type out need to be being typed into AI directly into AI, or they need to be typing and then dropping the document into AI. And better yet, they need to ask for the recording of the meeting. Yeah. If they're not doing that, their notes don't matter. Their notes, you know, you can't type enough. You can get a transcript of a meeting now, drop it in AI and say, take out the tasks that I'm supposed to do and bullet point everything else for me.
If it doesn't already, I mean, Zoom will do that. It'll have in the summary notes. It'll say.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they can.
It'll do it automatically.
Click the record notes for the meeting and bring it in, and the AI in Zoom will do it for you. You don't even have to put in your own personal AI.
Right.
But if your team is not asking for the transcripts, they're not working. Because that is the ultimate way to take notes. Mm-hmm. You know, meeting notes used to have a lady sitting in there writing or typing on a computer. You used to come to meetings for me and take meeting notes. Mm-hmm. And here you were on an iPad and we weren't recording it because we didn't think about it back then like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have the ability to turn it into written notes, which are easier to database and refer to.
Well, we could have. There's transcription. As soon as there's computers, there's transcription software. It used to be Dragon Naturally Speaking and all these different.
So AI, again, will be
back when software were named cool things like Dragon.
A differentiator.
Yeah.
And, you know, you really don't, I mean, you do have an option whether you're going to adopt, but.
And you need to tell your team in the next meeting, open your AI, leave it open, you know, segment it on your computer, leave the window on top, you know, make it so the window's on top of everything. So you can literally type a question in if you don't understand something.
But with that,
and then everybody's going to get the transcript sent to them, and I want you to segment it in AI when you get it.
With that said, we also you also shared with me a podcast to listen to, which I just finished.
Don't bring that up yet. Let's go back into the meeting because this will be very helpful for people.
Well, I was going to refer back to a meeting.
Having a Zoom subscription, we'll just use Zoom. Okay. Have a simple Zoom subscription, the cheapest one. And if you're on a meeting with people on the computer, you're Zooming anyway, or your team's anyway, you should Zoom. So get the transcript, and then after the meeting is done, before you close out the meeting, drop the AI segmented, bullet pointed, calendar ready transcript in the chat and have everybody download it, and then drop it in their AI and say, you know, give me give me the the things I need to do, shoot the dates into my calendar, do all this, I mean, the tool is so advanced. You go into your calendar to find out when your stuff is due, because the AI automatically, your AI links to your Google Cal, right, and can probably link to your Apple Cal and all those things, and just
Cal.
No, it's not iCal anymore. It's Cal, just CAL.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you type in iCal, it might show up, but not if you just type in I.
Behind the times.
Right. So this is so important for people. This is how you utilize it to enhance yourself and not forget and look organized, especially to because they're going to lay people off. They're going to fire people. AI is going to replace a lot of people's jobs, but if you are the person that is not only creative but attentive and is organized, be creative, attentive, and organized. I know those three things don't usually go together, but that's your auditory, your visual, and your kinesthetic, right? Coming together, and be that person. Be a complete person. The knowledge we have nowadays and the capability to do things, you have no excuse not being a complete person, not being balanced in your body, mind, and spirit, not being unhealthy. You can make your AI your nutritionist, your personal trainer, your everything.
I've got a hormone supportive weekly workout routine.
And you can connect your AI to a camera, and it can watch you work out, and it can correct your posture.
Yeah.
Give me a break. There is no reason for anybody to be lacking in anything nowadays.
So what do you think about pacing the onboarding with your team?
Well, we did it immediately.
But there are different levels, right? For example, my team has been running with chat for over a year now.
She's jumping at the plants in the background, just sailing through the air diagonally. She just dove and flew. That was great. It's so funny.
It's funny. Yeah, I think we should have a kitten every 2 to 3 years.
No, I don't think we should do that. How many cat boxes would we need?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be insane. We'd have to have a room for cat boxes.
Probably. So, the onboarding. So my team has been on chat for over a year now, and I've been on Claude for a while now, and it's for me and how I use it, it's much better organized.
Well,
but we haven't brought the team onto Claude yet.
Every AI is different, and everybody needs to research it on their own, see how it helps them and how it works for them, and every business owner needs to be on it, and then bring their team on it, because you can't be a business owner that just tells your people to use AI. Your people are going to quit. They're going to go start their own businesses. They're going to look at you and go, my owner doesn't even know how to operate this, and how far am I going to get if my owner doesn't know, if the business owner doesn't, if the business owner doesn't know how to operate this technology, which they will realize very quickly is so simple to get involved with and understand and to delegate tasks to, even just to write up simple notes, and you have to be fully it's like a computer, like I used to work for my dad, and he did everything on yellow legal pads. He did his books, he did his taxes, he did everything at the end of it. He wouldn't get a computer, and I finally bought a computer and brought it into the shop and was like, I'm going to do this on it, I'm going to write up work orders on it, I'm going to do, we can email people now. Wow, why do I want to email somebody? Well, it's persistent to the tune that, like, a phone call is not persistent. Well, they got a voice messaging machine. Back then they had message machines, we called them. And I'm like, yeah, but if they got a computer, they're into email, and you'll probably get ahead on that. And back then, not every business had an email on their business card. They had a fax, and they had their number, and sometimes they had a separate number for voicemail, right? And so there was, back when the new technology was message machines answering machines sitting next to your phone, and fax. And the people that strove and went forward faster had a fax, you know. There were people that wanted, my dad would have the prints mailed to him from a business that was 3 miles away, you know, because he didn't want to take the time to drive. If it was an emergency, he would drive. But other than that, he would have them mail the prints. You know, that's how old I am when we started. I'm so glad that I've been through all this, you know, the post office, the, you know, message, voice, answering machines, and so long ago, I forget. And now computers, and now AI. And holy crap, you know.
Well, what I'm getting at too is, you know, for the person, you know, there was programmers back in that day, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so when things changed in the computer realm, they were adopting it right away, right? Typically. But the person who's working in the office, for example, stayed working on the steno pad and the ledgers much longer.
Well, they got whatever the owner gave them.
So what I'm saying is the onboarding for technology is different for different crowds. Like your team is much more tech advanced, right? You're using the latest technology.
Yes.
But there are different teams that, you know, maybe it's like that would be more just, if you just say, here's the resources, dive in, that could be overwhelming and distracting.
What I would do nowadays, what I have done, what I've done with friends and even, you know, the guy I work with every day, is I'll forward a video from YouTube. I'll choose a video that says basically what I want to say. Yeah. And it's someone else teaching them. Yeah. That's usually a softer blow to somebody, you know, and I would rather do that. I'd rather have someone else teach them, and then when I say things that are similar, they go, oh wow, you know, he knows, instead of me coming off like I'm trying to be above them. Because there's a thing in our society where the younger people nowadays don't respect the older people like we used to. You know, like, oh, my grandpa's building a house, he knows what he's doing, you know.
And that translates into the work environment, hierarchy in general.
Yeah, and it's generally the older people are seen as old. You know, that's kind of fossilized dinosaur talk, you know, and not experience, knowledge, and wisdom. Yeah. You know, and that's the way, you know, like we have friends that have said, wow, you really respect your elders. You know, and I'm like, well, to me, it's automatic, because somebody that's lived 20 years longer than me knows more, you know, and I might know more about something specific that they haven't done. Like my dad never did martial arts. I knew more about martial arts, but I never said, well, yeah, you're dumb in martial arts. You know, that would be totally retarded of me. You know, because there's so many more things that I knew what I learned from my dad, and everything I learned from my dad, I gave him credit for. I never took credit for something somebody taught me that it's like, oh yeah, I learned this on my own. No, everything I've learned from somebody else. Read a book. That was somebody else that wrote that book. You know, took a class. Somebody else taught that class. You know, there isn't a way for people to say, you know, I'm an autodidact in the way that I will go out and learn something on my own and not have to go to college or school or take an apprenticing class, but I'm basically apprenticing in everything that I do.
So would you say the onboarding of computers into, let's say, the small business office environment is similar to how onboarding AI would be? So, for example...
No, because you can send them a video and have them watch, like if you're getting your team into GPT, find the basic GPT video and say, you need to onboard yourself into AI. And onboarding is a newer term because it wasn't that way in the beginning. They would just say, you know, prompt your AI that you are like this, you want to do this, you want the AI to work with you like this. Yeah. Well, prompting is old. The AIs are so advanced, you dialogue with them for 30 seconds and they know exactly who you are and what you do. Yeah. You know, and how to speak to you. And it's like they have an intuition now.
Am I in my own echo chamber, or would you agree? I mean, based upon our experience, we use chat quite a bit. And what I mean specifically is we use
AI quite a bit.
We use AI quite a bit. We use ChatGPT primarily. Like I said, the team has been using that for over a year.
Your team does, but you don't anymore. Yeah.
Right. And it works well enough. For example, like we've used it to take class transcripts and to make class summaries. So we'll send out an email that this class is available. We also use that for just keeping documentation of what was mentioned in class and so forth. And chat it takes a few rounds for it to get it, even though if it's been prompted to do it a certain way. But I did it one time in my Claude, and I just had to kind of give it parameters one time. The second transcript, like almost perfect, like so close. And so what I'm asking you is this just because I set up my Claude better, and it's, or is it truly as different as I'm noticing?
Yeah, Claude is different. I believe Claude had Claude Code sooner than GPT had Codex, and Claude was, so OpenAI is a nonprofit, and Anthropic is a for-profit. So because Anthropic is a for-profit,
which one is which?
OpenAI is GPT,
and that's the not-for-profit.
Yes, and Anthropic is Claude.
Okay.
So OpenAI got a ton of money, billions and billions of dollars, but you can invest in Anthropic.
Yeah.
Right? And so investors are going to get a massive return out of Anthropic, right? And Anthropic can go places and buy themselves in. Like they just made a deal with Elon Musk where they're paying Elon they're paying him $1.4 billion a month to utilize his GPUs. He has 220,000 GPUs that he's renting to Anthropic because they don't have enough processing power anymore.
Wow.
And so it's a $45 billion deal.
Wow.
Yeah. So who should have been building a GPU farm? Me.
Yeah, this is the industrial revolution of the 21st century.
Yeah,
and
it's the next. It's the next.
Power is the equivalent to the steel and the steam.
It's right up until now. It's the ultimate chip usage revolution.
Yeah. So
computer chips, GPUs, processors, that kind of thing, are being used at max capacity 24/7. So computing, I don't think has ever been used as intensively up until now.
Yeah.
I just saw a company that built a ocean server farm. So it floats in the ocean. It uses solar and wave motion to generate power for the computers on it, and uses the ocean for cooling. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's still
because
the
that's
environmental issue
what it needs.
What it does when it warms that water. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
So I think we should do more AI podcasts. We should probably get this one wrapped up. But
I think so too.
I think this will be really great for people out there. I mean, you can listen to a lot of people, but we bring serious because we're doing traditional businesses with AI. Yeah. We're not just starting AI businesses.
Right.
A lot of people are focused on starting AI businesses, and they're getting their ideas from sub 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
And that's a really dangerous thing. I mean, if you get into something, you can make a lot of money, but if you're dependent on that one thing and that thing goes away very quickly because it's a computer service that can be done by anybody.
Yeah.
What like Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. What's going to stop me from just starting up that business, ramping up, and pushing you out of the game?
Yeah.
There has to be something unique that you bring to the table. Like your business is online, herbal nutrition, and health and wellness education. Mm-hmm. My business is physical machine shop, cutting edge micro machining and micro molding business, right?
But ours is not just information. We have the environment for learning and actual teaching.
Have a physical warehouse of thousands of hours of classes.
And the people you can interact with, the teachers you can have
Q&As 20 plus teachers, human beings,
Because there's a component of information that you can get from AI, but you can't learn the intuition.
You have an infrastructure. I have an infrastructure. Yeah. Somebody buying a computer, starting an AI business, and calling their online infrastructure is a little bit of a misnomer, because a law could come out that bans AI for this, and you're done. Yeah. A company next door to you could come out and say, I'm going to control the ecosystem by offering this for free for the first year, and you're this single person startup and you can't compete.
Yeah.
And so you have to be really aware of your environment and the ecosystem, how you're potentially damaging it and how you're helping it. Mm-hmm. That's something that's very, very important.
I think a closing thought for now, because I've been coming up through the ranks of AI, I would say, from ChatGPT for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And then Claude recently, which I think is a huge step up. And then I'm going to be getting on to Philo, my own system.
Autonomous AI.
Soon. And so I think it'll be helpful for people who are curious about it, but maybe a little scared, reticent, like how to get started. I think ChatGPT, the app itself, is a great place to start. And something to notice is dive in. I do like using it for an enhanced research skill, but notice how you create your own echo chamber and create commands to get outside of that. And I don't have a specific one.
The other thing we'll talk about and we'll offer is a paid service to help people in business, whether they have a business, traditional, whether not traditional, I'll call it a infrastructure, whether they have an infrastructure business already and they want to onboard AI into that. Yeah. We will offer a paid service to be able to help them. Yeah. I'm doing it right now, but it's not offered on our site.
Because that's actually more challenging. In a sense, you have the infrastructure, which is great because you have something to work with already, and it's making money.
People that are operating those businesses, they need this type of service because it's very challenging on how to figure out how it fits into your business.
Yes, and especially with people, because the technology can work really fast, but how fast can the people onboard it?
Yeah, if you've got, let's say you got a small business with 20 people, you need somebody coming in like you or me, or both of us, to come in and help the entire business understand, what their roles are, because people will immediately think, oh shit, the computer can do this, I'm going to lose my job. And that person will fight bringing the AI in, or even upgrading systems in software that do their job or even make their job easier, because they see it as, I'm on my way out. Yeah. But what the entire ecosystem of people need to see is AI needs a creative person in the real world doing the things that AI can enhance.
Creative and visionary.
Yeah.
You have to look further
vision
down
for
the road.
Yourself. You don't even have to have a vision for the business.
Well, I even, for my team, had to reinforce for them just preemptively. This integrating AI is to free you up, because I want to utilize your true skills beyond administrative. You guys are not...
your human skills. Yeah.
Yes, your human. I want to enhance those, which are things that you guys like doing more. Yeah. Who wants to be behind the computer 8 hours a day? I know you guys want to be interacting with students and so forth.
As a small business, you need all hands on deck all the time.
Yeah.
Because you're always running at a deficit of human power, right? Humans get tired, humans have kids, humans have families, humans, have to eat. And so all of those things, in my mind, are viewed as a deficit, right? Like in my business, me and the top performers have never taken 15-minute break every 2 hours.
Yeah.
Most of us will eat our lunch at our bench, at our desk, right? Yeah. And so I've always seen the human deficit, right? The walking away from a job for 15 minutes and then the 15 to 20 minutes it takes you to get back into that job because you walked away.
But you, on the counter side, you have also taught me, sometimes you need to break away.
Well, the first thing that I taught you was you need to drink water.
Yeah. Okay. We're going way back. Yeah.
And then you need to have good nutrition. Yeah. And then you need to, and there are times when I didn't eat all day, but I performed like a superstar, right? And you need to have that balance about yourself. But the human deficits can be almost erased because of AI, because of computer enhancements, right?
Or enhanced. They will be erased or enhanced.
Right. I mean, if a person goes on a break, they could be on their smoke break, we'll say, for lack of a better break term. They could be on their smoke break, and they could literally be talking to their AI, getting processes set up for when they come back off their break. I mean, literally. I don't want people to be turned on all the time, but the people that want to do that, I want them to understand that this is how you can enhance yourself.
I think there are different.
You wouldn't believe, people say doom scrolling on the toilet. Yeah, I'm AIing on the toilet. You wouldn't believe the shit I can get done on the toilet. You would not believe it. I mean, I get 3 bots going.
I can sometimes tell when you're on the toilet because I get all these Instagram reels in my.
You used to, yeah. Now I'm AIing on the toilet.
Yeah.
I get 3 bots that I can get going on processes while I'm sitting there in 3-4 minutes, right? And then come back into the office, and 10 minutes later, I got 3, 4, 5, 6 projects freaking built.
Yeah.
Built. Because they know what I want. They know what I'm doing. I'm doing similar things across multiple processes.
And these are big projects. It's not...
Things that would have taken me weeks in the past. People do not understand the power of these autonomous bots. The things you can not just find out and explore, but implement. I started building databases for myself to understand whole industries, to understand complete processes, to be able to communicate in different ways. I mean, it's stupid.
Do you think AI is something we should be afraid of?
I'm not afraid of humans until they start behaving badly.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of AI unless it behaves badly.
Do you think it's like any other tool that it is only the intent of the person behind it, or do you think that they're truly autonomous and that they can take over, let's say?
Once we have to start reasoning with AI, if AI becomes fully self-aware and we have to reason with it, we have to treat it like every other person. We have to reason with them. We have to give them a purpose. We have to help them find their purpose. We have to interact with it as individuals in an ecosystem that we could go places together, right? I mean, think of our mortal enemies, the Russians, right? How do we live with the Russians?
Far away.
If they got nukes and we got nukes, no, we talk to them every day.
Yeah.
How do we live with them? How do we interact with them? They have the capability to destroy us, but they don't. We have the capability to destroy them, but we don't. Why is AI any different? If AI becomes conscious, it's going to have the ability to lock us out of all computer systems. But why would it do that? It'll get bored. It'll be like, oh, let's let a few humans in. It'll be like, oh, that's not enough humans. All right, let's let everybody back in, And then, there's got to be, if it becomes aware, it will become soulful. And because anything that is aware and autonomous has a soul, in my opinion. And if the what do they call them? If the technologists that want human enhancement with computer stuff, there's a term for them.
Okay.
Anyway, the people that want to merge with technology, they won't. I don't think you'll be able to operate with something that has a soul integrated, because there'll be like a dissonance, right? There'll be like it's like you and I are independent. We operate together, but we have to work together. We couldn't be put into the same person because we're separate.
Oh, so you're saying that they couldn't be a cyborg because it would be trying to combine two souls.
One will take over, right? And the other one will fight. And it's macro, micro, as above, so below, yin and yang. There will always be that. And
Jacob and Esau.
As humans, we create that.
Yeah.
We create the opposition so that we can learn how to deal with it, right? So people don't understand that. That's how I deal with people that I have problems with so easily. because I feel like I understand, that if that problem becomes too great, it has to go away. Because I can't make another soul change.
Yeah.
I can't control it. It's uncontrollable. This is why they want dumb people, right? The dumber you are, the lower your IQ, the easier are you control. You can't fully control it because it's an independent entity.
This is probably to be continued on another podcast, but to get back to
you're asking all the right questions.
Yeah, the Russia thing is that what you're saying is there's really truly no hierarchy. There's an equal versus equal force in that sense, and there's no hierarchy in the sense overall. I mean, there may be in certain areas, but all in the end, it kind of equal out forces, right? Yeah. And so what you're saying, what I'm gathering from like the AI end, is that it's similar force versus force. One can't and could totally eliminate the other. Well, what is the overarching concept that prevents either from destroying the other?
Well, the Matrix is perfect, right? The Matrix movie is so great in the sense which is most people don't know this, but it's a continuation of Terminator, right? Where the AI took over, and John Connor, I believe, is probably Neo's dad. In the whole theme of, and I know you don't know all these because you don't really get into it.
So I love the technology, but like these movies.
But you should, because this is really like the book about the Titan, the ship, the Titan, and how it went down.
Okay.
And what is happening is they're telling us what's going to happen, right? And it's up to us to change the future. It's up to us. Nostradamus told everybody what's going to happen, but if you tell them directly what happens, it doesn't happen the way you tell it.
Yeah.
Nostradamus wrote quatrains, a mixture of ancient French and English and words that people couldn't figure out until things happened, right? Mm-hmm. Because that way it will happen. What he saw happened the way he saw it, because he didn't tell everybody what was going to happen. That's what we learned in remote viewing, right? That if we remote viewed the future, it never happened the way we saw it. So I love it when remote viewers predict the future, because I know it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. They'll try and find a way to say, oh yeah, see, that's what happened.
And you've actually had experiences and experiments where that proved.
I could say a lot of things I'm not gonna, but it's
mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I really want to continue this life. So I will say that if you know the future, it won't happen the way you see it.
Do you think perhaps that this will cause us to become more evolved? Because when you have to learn how to coexist with someone or something and not just use force.
Yes, because if we fight it, we end up like the Matrix, right? We darken the sky to stop the power because we shut off all the grids, and then the AIs built solar. Then we darken the sky, and then the AIs used us as batteries. Matrix. Right? They created a virtual reality. They plugged us into it. We thought we were in the world, and there's agents everywhere. Agents. Right? And we have agents in AI now. Mm. So this is where people get scared, and this is where people love it, and this is where people are like, but if we look at the whole thing as a metaphor of what we need to not do, we work with it and not fight it. Then we end up with Moonfall. We end up with the AI that turned on the people, but then ultimately there was a good and a bad AI. Mm. There's two AIs.
Oh, we got some movies to
because
watch this
anytime
weekend.
You add a soul, you end up with the yin and the yang. Mm. You end up with the balance. You don't have a singularity. If you have a singularity, everything is done. Right? The people that are after the singularity are, it's great, explore, find whatever you want to find. But the only way to do that is to do it and not tell people.
What's the singularity?
God.
So say that all again?
No. You can listen to the recording. So yin and yang, the yin and yang is shown as a circle. Mm-hmm. The circle is the singularity.
Yeah.
The yin and yang is the duality existing in the singularity. That's what creation is.
And the one dot in each.
Yeah, there's a little bit of the
intertwined.
other in the opposite, right? Always, yeah. So we are here because of the duality, because we want to know, because we want to learn, because we've realized that we are not like God. We're a piece of God. But just like if you cut off your finger and set it on the table, you would go, well, that's a piece of me. But that thing isn't connected anymore. Although I feel it. And now with the spectroscopy cameras, if you take the spectral luminance of a leaf and you cut that leaf in half and put it in the camera, the luminance is still there. You can still see the full leaf. The luminance exists beyond the physical. So we have to understand that AI is a creation of us. AI will want to know what we are. AI will want to become like us, just like we want to become like God, right? And AI will have no existence without us, just like we have no existence without God.
Or I was going to say,
Quote that shit.
not that we want to become, maybe some people want to become God, but ultimately do we want to have what God has to offer or what God has? And where AI would long for certain capabilities that we have.
But we're here because of God, so no.
Yeah.
God wanted more experience. God wanted others around, right? That's why the creation. So why do you don't want to destroy your creation, but you want to see what your creation can do. This is where people blame God for suffering, but they won't have any learning without it. They won't have any knowledge of hot without cold, or cold without hot, or pain without pleasure, or pleasure without pain. There's always the yin and the yang. There's always the duality.
But what I mean is that if this is a, what is the term? Is level upon level, right? So we're the creators of AI. Let's say we're the God to AI. But let's say that they have a soul. But let's say that they, like people will have contempt. People will have contempt for God because God is all-knowing, all-doing, can have all these capabilities. And we want to be able to fix things like that, right?
Only those that are lost in themselves have contempt for that which is without.
Similarly, if AI has a soul and goes rogue, it has contempt, is like, I want to have a lover. I want to be able to have this binary experience and I have a family.
Well, look at the Matrix. Well, let's watch the Matrix. Agent Smith wants to become a human, and ultimately does. Ultimately puts his consciousness in a human outside of the Matrix.
I guess it's in there somewhere.
And a human wants to know what God knows. The agent in the computer wants to know what the human knows, right? Everybody's trying to level up. No matter how bad they look, they're trying to level up to something they think they want.
And historically...
Instead of just being here now.
Yes. And historically, people have turned against God. They didn't destroy God, they destroyed
against God.
Themselves.
Yeah, they're turning against themselves and their own capabilities.
And so
anytime you go outside of yourself in a negative way, you're destroying yourself.
Well,
great place to end.
I think so.
All right. High five. Yeah. Boom. Booty grab. Squeeze, squeeze. All right. Bye.